respond. Queues are real. 2.5 days is fabricated, says the opposition. Please convince them.
Again, my friend from TMC needs to understand the difference between LPG and LNG. No household consumer will be affected. You know, the present glitches that you are witnessing, as Suhail also tried to explain, is because of the supply backlog, because, you know, this 30% ramping up will show in the next few days, which could be maximum 3 to 4 days, not beyond that. Not beyond that. So, you know, the commercial, you know, restaurants that you are talking about, they might, you know, they might, you know, take a few more days, but not a single household is going to suffer beyond the next 3 days. That's point number one. Point number two, you know, I mean, if the previous Congress governments had been hypocritical in being unfair to Israel, we corrected that. You know, point is, Sanjay, I think Sanjay asked this question, why did we only, you know, pay a bureaucratic condolence to Khamenei? You know, Congress has the option of you know, putting up Khamenei's picture alongside Nehru. But the point is, we are treading a very fine balance, which the Congress party has not been able to understand. Yes, we paid a bureaucratic condolence because we consciously are not taking a political position on the issue. India's only priority right now is to safeguard Indians stuck in the Gulf and to safeguard our economic interests again stuck in the Gulf.
America-Israel axis. Don't lie, you are part of the America-Israel axis. And
what is he talking?
I want to make a point.
Is that the reason why Iran would appreciate a peace gesture yesterday?
May I just inform you?
Iran would publicly...
May I just inform you that Mohammad Fatali, the Iranian ambassador to India, has just said that India is a friend, and you will see in the next few hours, we will work out the passage of Indian fuel-laden ships to sail from the Straits of Hormuz. You know, Sanjay Jha, take a deep breath. It is a tough situation. The lines are being worked. Solutions are being found. You know, is it a bit like Saas Bahu serial where you always have to find fault with the government?
No, Navika, you started by showing a clip of Tucker Carlson. I saw that. You watched that entire interview, and guess what Tucker Carlson says? He says the reason why Iran is under siege and attack by Israel and by America is on account of Epstein files. How come India was not aware of this? Are we compromised? The second question, do we realize at the moment that around 50 billion of remittances come from the Middle East? Was Mr. Modi not aware? You're backing Israel in this war. Can you imagine how many homes in India are going to suffer because people are losing jobs in the Middle East? We are not even talking about that. The number of migrants who are losing jobs in the Middle East, they can't remit that money back home. And number of families.
Sanjay Jha, I mean, which part of the world geopolitical situation don't you understand? India did not start the war. Yes, India is paying the price of the war, but Abhijit Iyer-Mitra, when Sanjay Jha makes this wide-eyed, innocent appeal and a cry, what do you want to tell him? Because he's almost blaming as if Modi is the one who started the war.
No, we never. So, you know, Navika, we should be very kind to Sanjay because, you know...
one Sanjay, at a time, Suhail. I can't hear you. One at a time.
So,
I'll come to you.
Sanjay is a very smart guy, but he can't avoid the Goebbelsian, ethos of the Congress. After all, the party president's grandfather literally marched into Russia with the Wehrmacht, with Army Group Center, which was responsible for some of the worst massacres of the war. Pouring kerosene on Soviet army soldiers and torching them alive, running them over with tanks after they had surrendered, bayoneting pregnant Jewish women in the Bihar massacre and then burying them alive and things like that. This comes very naturally to a party whose leader was whose grandfather was in the Wehrmacht and was complicit in some of Hitler's worst crimes. So they really shouldn't be talking about meeting a war criminal, anything to do with war crimes or anything like that. Let us come to the gas situation. I think the BJP is to be blamed to an extent in that their PR is terrible. They are taking all the right steps, but they are failing spectacularly at communication, which is a chronic recurring problem with this party. Now, Let us be very clear. Why are shortages happening? There is actually no shortage of gas. The 28% increase that the minister has ordered in the production of gas is precisely to compensate for the hoarding that is happening. Let me remind you, 56 tanks of which were found from a SP politician's house. Let us also not forget, during COVID, when oxygen hoarding was happened, there was a Congress politician who, very surprisingly, when the rest of us were not getting oxygen, he had access to huge quantities of oxygen cylinders, which he made a career on Twitter, going around becoming Garibon ka Messiah or whatever. Okay, this is a standard practice out there. If you remember, in Vajpayee's time, they actually won the Delhi election by hoarding onions. And they never, the BJP never won Delhi back for a long time after that. So this is chronic, like the Goebbels and the Wehrmacht and Hitler and all of that. This is also pathological with the Congress. Fourth, we need to remember what is happening out here. You look at ever since statistics on famines, shortages, drought started. We know the problem in India hasn't been a shortage of grains. It has not been a shortage of gas. It has always been a shortage of supply. Inadequacy of supply has always been the killer. Right now, you have a hoarding problem. You look historically at all oil and gas crises. The spike lasts for about 10, 12, maximum 15 days, and then the market rationalizes and it evens out, except in 1973, which was a concerted oil embargo by the Arab countries. This is not an oil embargo. This is a very different ball game. We can see the ships. We're tracking those ships on OSINT. There is gas coming in from Russia that we can see. There are at least about 6 ships that we have tracked so far coming in. Now, what else do you want us to do?
Yes, people are suffering. Tausif bhai, I agree with you. In the short run, people are suffering.
Nobody is saying they're not
But if we were to hoard less, we would not suffer. And therefore, it's important that politicians educate the people of India rather than spreading panic. That's exactly the point.
Tawfiq is too young. He wasn't born then in Calcutta when there were floods. People used to hoard Alazone tablets. Ask Tawfiq. His parents will remember. We are a nation of hoarders. And I'll tell you one thing. We accept that. We are a nation of hoarders. Sometimes we need to introspect. You know, Sanjay made a point about economic security. By hoarding, we are threatening economic security. Let me tell you one last point before the other gentleman comes in. Do you know induction plates in Gurgaon, a 2,000 rupee induction plate is being sold for 15,000? Some induction plates are being rented by the hour for 200 rupees. Aap mere ko bolo, is there an induction plate shortage? You have created panic and hawa by doing all this kind of nonsense. And then you want to blame the government? We are responsible in some cases. And finally, Sanjay, while I agree with some of the stuff that you've said, it is not a war of our making. Let's imagine, Sanjay, let's be real, be honest on this. Let's imagine Narendra Modi had not gone to Israel. You think Trump wouldn't have attacked? You think this war wouldn't have happened? This war would have happened. The war happened because of some of the points that you made, and the war happened because Israel believes that it needs to safeguard its sovereign rights. You and I aren't the people who have made that war. The war has been thrust upon the world, not only upon India.
In fact, it is Zelensky.